That's why I couldn't steal
这
it.
边先来做
You
一
got lucky. I ate the
个
rest
，Not
of
gonna
it.
lie,
调查。
that's the one I want.
Wants from us as people who are
阿罗
working
哈，
with it, because
小
the
伙伴
truth
们，
is
今
that
天
it
参
can
观
tell
一
you
下
everything you need to do.
Honolulu
You just
的
have to shut up long enough to
Chocolate
hear it.
Factory。
Hello, my name is Seneca Klassen. I am the founder and chocolate maker and lead farmer here at Honolulu State Chocolate. I came to Hawaii to work with cacao specifically because I had already tasted some Hawaii-grown cacao and I thought it was extraordinary. Additionally, to try and resolve that, and this seemed like a good way of tackling it.
This is a routine operation that happens thousands and thousands of times. So a typical harvest day might be at least 1,000 fruits. You know, that would be a low bar, and up to more like 2,000 or 3,000 fruits in a day in the higher season. There's not really, strictly speaking, seasonality to this crop. In Hawaii, we have kind of a fruit flesh. So one thing I wanted to do now is just give you guys a chance to taste some fresh cacao fruit. Because,
I didn't even know you could eat like that.
yeah. So what you're gonna want to do is just I'm gonna get out some cups, these full of a few seeds, and
Can I
just
grab my phone? I looked.
floral quality sometimes to certain of the fruits.
新鲜
A
的
lot of local folks will find resonance with like
What did they miss?
mangosteen
巧克力豆，尝一
So
下
cool.
opportunities.
巧克力豆，
And the labor
外
being
面
the first
真
thing
的
we're
是
gonna do
酸
is
酸
we'll
甜
get
甜的，
it
也好吃。
cooking.
里面咬出来就是这样
So
的
it's the interaction between browning, cooking, and the fact it's energy, and you need calories to get up and go do that. And if you find a food that is not, it's a really, it's
那
really
个
simple
帽
to
子
work with,
鞋套，
and the juice is absolutely.
以前这边是一个电影院，
Cavallo Theater opened in 1938. It was a consolidated theater, say movie company to that today. That era was a major movie theater. Them if you want to. These are dried fermented beans, unroasted yet.
还有很多的讲解。发酵后的巧克力豆，
Thin and flexible. It's called a testa botanically. It's very similar to parchment and green coffee. We don't want it in our food for two reasons. One is Epicurean. It tastes bad. It's full of tannins and astringent compounds, lots of antioxidant things, but those are quite bitter and nasty often. And it's also very fibrous and doesn't break down well in chocolate making, so it's going to mess everything up. Secondly, and equally importantly, at least equally importantly, is a food safety concern. These beans, although we've roasted them, which is a good kill step, they're still an agricultural product that came from our farm, and the farm is not a lovely food safe. It's a really rustic up there. If a gecko came to food farm, my grandma noticed. So we just don't want this sort of thing. So for both those reasons, we're going to winnow the roasted beans before we crunch coconut coffee.
这个是发酵后的巧克力豆，再加上烘烤以后，外面脆脆的，香香的，已经有酒香的巧克力味道。
We do 5 kilo curves, and so
That's what I'm getting at. I need to take a picture of that.
这是一个非常悠久、历史悠久的
brand new to a company
做巧克力的一个机器。
still a small chocolate manufacturer in Catalunya today. And we were able, once we got our hands on her, we were able to find an uncle working still at Blocksart who has been there since the 1960s. He had pictures of this in their factory in 1964. So we've seen it where it lived.
1994年，
It still worked. They sold it. It
哦，1918年的机器。
widows every bean we work with currently. So it's a simple device ultimately. There's just a single electrical motor that drives all of these kludgy belts and gears and things. What happens is cacao beans go in at the hopper level and ground level. They get elevated up to the top hopper. That little neck below there is a big steel cylinder with grooves that rotates. So as the beans gravity feed down through that hopper, they fall into those little gaps. The thing rotates, crushes the beans. The crushed beans fall onto a series of shaking tables, 1, 2, 3 of them. The shaking tables have different grades of steel mesh. There's agitating arms moving things around, and they're vibrating. And then there's airflow pulling the air.
You're right about the
off.
air.
So the action of the agitation. So that one spindle drives that belt drives that. So
现在既然这个马达还是好的，
and actually these are worth the smell. They actually smell delicious. We apply these on the farm. It's like a
这味道还很
the
好，
chocolate shroom grower is using
就
this.
从这边出来。
Yes, there's a lot of cool. We have a person who's interested in using it for body scrubs.
I was gonna say, like, this
So we're definitely working on different uses for this other than just mulching, which is a good use.
另外一个房间，
This is an old belanger or stone grinder. I'll turn on for a quick second and watch it.
啊，现在它在运作了。
It's a simple device, and it only processes one ingredient. And when we subject those seemingly solid objects to the stress of this rotating system, their flow properties immediately change as their solids are.
Have you ever had to evaluate?
Difference in the final texture. And old melangers comes from the 60s. These sort of open vessel melangers aren't really preferred anymore because they're not that fast. There's two things we do in here that are old-fashioned because newer choices are quicker.
Yeah.
Most chocolate companies wouldn't choose these because they just take too much time. So it takes about, this machine only processes 60 kilos at a time of nibs, and it takes about 3 or 4 hours to get them down to the threshold. So that's slow from goes all the way almost to the ground.
Oh wow.
So that cylinder is quite deep, and it's about 2/3 full of the media.
这样一个
The media, as we call it, those hardened steel balls are super dense. And you can imagine that they need to be because they're going to bang into each other and we don't want metal filings in our chocolate. We do have electromagnetic filtering at 2 spots in the mill, so just in case. But to express to you how dense those things are, when twice a year we have to do a full media clean, you actually have to take one. It sucks. And one of the reasons it sucks is because you have to lift them out of there. 1 liter of those, which is like about that much volume. It's not running, but playing on this monitor so you can see kind of what it looks like when it's active. But you can also imagine it quite easily. It's just a big armature and a stone roller and a stone base that pushes back and forth, mixing the chocolate and also aerating it with every kind of back and forth stroke because there's a curved side which generates a wave action and that generates aeration. This is, but the idea is exactly the same. It just does its thing over and over and over for many hours until the chocolate is fully mixed and fully sweetened. And these guys are once again.
先走进冷藏室。
Pump from the tank into this temperer. The temperer helps us see the crystallization structure of the chocolate while it's still in a state of flow. Okay, so chocolate's fats have these really cool, unique crystals that can be organized and lined up if they're helps to do so. So this machine we programmed to help us do that, so we don't have to hand temporarily. And it delivers tempered chocolate in a state of flow, pushes them into that very fancy refrigerator over there, which is a cooling tunnel. So which carousels the molds through about 4 degrees centigrade, which is like 39, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 20 minutes. And then push it out to the ceiling, and at which point we have the chocolate. So all of almost themselves, which is kind of cool. So something else is just noisy. White noise in our world, so often there'll be like 4 or 5 of us in here all running around in our own little like hermetic universes, because that's the way. So we store some bulk chocolate waiting to be tempered and molded, a lot of bars waiting to be finished packed or case packed to fulfillment. And then the last little room there is another tempering station where we do small and tempered chocolate, small and that's it. All this sweetness area will be the fulfillment is in a pretty narrow range.
这个样品叫 Lucky Seven。
This is where the list actually begins.
这给我们的啊。
But we're going to reverse the order. No, the first 2, we're going to flip them. So I want you to next.
接下来就是尝试它不同颜色的，就是他跟你说解释怎么样子的巧克力。
The red one?
The coffee one's super good.
Amihiku.
Sorry?
Amihiku just means 70 in Latin. And Daniel Peter, who was a colleague of both Henri Nestle and Rudolf Lintz, ran a chocolate company. He said, I wonder if this stuff would work in